Is there hope for the Jeep brand? We think so. Find out today. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today is probably going to be the last episode of Jeep news for the year 2024, unless something else comes out crazy within the next few weeks. But we're here, sitting here in the shop, and we've got some pretty cool news that is coming out of Jeep, especially on their Stellantis headquarters and the media side. And it's making us start to think that Jeep might finally be listening. And I have a couple different reasons I want to discuss why that might be happening, and then also what we think the future of Jeep looks like. I know we produced some content a few months back that said, is Jeep dead? And back then, yeah, it was really, really rough. And I think a lot of people resonated with that video. They saw what we posted, and we got a lot of sidebar chats from some pretty high up people that also agreed with a lot of the things that we were saying. So in the first section of this, I think Jeep has started to listen, and for all of you guys that have been patiently waiting on the 2025 to have the V6 paired with the automatic transmission, it is returning. As of yesterday, we actually saw an article both posted on the Jeep Wrangler forums as well as on Stellantis North America media that the V6 automatic transmission will be returning. That was crazy when the 2025 got released and there was no V6 automatic. At first we thought maybe this is just a glitch, it's going to come back out. And then Jeep officially confirmed it. They said the V6 is only going to be paired exclusively with the manual. And man, that hit us in the heartstrings because I thought there were so many things already limited from Jeep that they've just removed another engine option with that transmission. What is next? Are they going full bore into electrification? Because at that point, really the only way to get an automatic was with a 4-cylinder or a 4xe, which both had a 2-liter turbo. So for you guys that have been waiting to order a V6 automatic on the 2025 model year, now is the time. I believe order banks are going to start to open soon. Please go ahead and use our dealership affiliate program. Enter your info there. It goes right to Dan Cummins, and you can put in V6 Auto that you've been waiting to order. Reach out to them and get a great price. But it's exciting because in the press release, I actually believe their first sentence was like, the audience spoke and we listened. That was probably the first time we've seen that in a long time, that the audience was that upset. And the forums were upset, the internet was upset, everyone was like, where's the V6 Auto? Now, personally, Ryan and I wasn't upset. Yeah, no. I mean, I was upset because of, are they going electrification? Are they getting rid of more engines? I don't like that. We love our 4-cylinder turbo. I don't care what anyone says. We got one in this Jeep, your Jeep, Dad's Jeep, my old Jeep. We love the 2-liter turbo. If you haven't driven one, test drive a 4-cylinder turbo in the 2024 or 25, and then drive the 3.6 Auto. Just try them both out. Yeah. And then make your decision, because
limiting it and taking it away and just giving you only this option is what I think people are most upset about. Just taking away those options, kind of like we talked about in the 22 when they started to remove all these things and you had to upscale the package just to get a certain thing that you wanted. It didn't make sense. It was just backwards.
The biggest slap in the face was the 2025 Gladiator was only the V6 Auto. So it's obviously you're still making the engine, still making the transmission. Why has it been removed? So luckily that has returned, but what that signals to us is that I think a lot of things are going to start changing. Recently we made a video on the CEO, Carlos Tavares, abruptly resignating, as some people had a problem with me saying. He submitted his resignation. He quit. Use the adjective that matches that. But he left abruptly. And there has been a lot of changes since then. I mean, within the past week or two, we already got the V6 Auto back. And there's a lot that I think will start to return. And let's break that down a little bit, because I don't think it was just one person that was causing this. But from what we've been reading all over the place, and we're putting together our own opinion. This is just an opinion, it's not fact, it's just us talking, is that individual had a lot of the reasons to do with not only why upper executives were leaving, but also for the hard electrification push. You guys got to remember, for a little while back, we were very involved with dealerships, and we still are now, but we slowly watched the removal of the V8s, the Hellcats, on not only not really Jeeps, but the Chargers, the Challengers, the TRX. All these engines just started to get removed. So then they reduced it just down to a V6. Then they went to the Ram RHO, which is it's a 3-liter twin turbo. But they just kept removing V8s. And the Gladiator never got a V8. We still don't have a 2025 392 in the Wrangler. And it's we started to formulate our own opinions. Is it because of EPA fines? Is it because of regulations that they need to meet certain MPGs? what is going on here, because we couldn't put it together, and I know there's a lot that happens behind the screen. All the push for the 4xEs, the dealerships could only sell these, all this and stuff that was happening. I read an article on Haggerty Media that said Carlos was actually one of the biggest pushers of electrification and the green sector of the industry. And it was quoted that he said, it was an internal, once again, there's no like sources for this besides it was on Haggerty, that said he had a program internally that was called Darwin, and it was a cost-cutting initiative, and he stated that we are in a Darwinian phase of the automotive industry, which the next phase, which Darwin is the stages of evolution, was going to be electrification. So you have an individual that is in charge of the entire, basically a wheelhouse for the US and most of the world, that is basically set that this is what's going to happen with the brand. It's not going to be gas forever. It's only going to be electrification. And from what we've read in some of these articles, there was some on the forums, some on this Haggerty site, all over the place, when US executives and people that were really deep in Jeep culture, Jim Morrison, Tom Kay, the CEO of Ram, somebody that brought out the TRX, the Hellcats, all sorts of stuff, they started to just trickle out of Jeep. They started to retire, they started to leave, and that was quite abruptly. And I can only imagine that if you've got a CEO and someone that's in charge that is completely wholeheartedly thinking this is the only way it's going to happen, there's no other way, no other option, and you go into a board meeting and say, look, we should put a V8 in a Gladiator, or we should probably put the V8 in some other place, or maybe we should put a Hellcat in a Wrangler. Someone that only believes that the automotive industry is going into electrification, what are they going to say to that? They're going to completely... There's going to be like, no way. And in those articles, too, they said there was like almost like an arrogance to it as well. Now, that's here nor there.
Yeah,
but
like we haven't been sitting in the same...
with a meeting.
But we know...
I'm sure I would be. Yeah, I'd be like...
We know firsthand of sitting in meetings and nothing happening.
We're going to circle back on this.
Yeah.
Hit me up offline. Let's take this chat offline. We're going to have a second meeting next week. And then they just keep getting pushed, and now we're in 2025. And no V8 Gladiator. But I wonder if that was... the vast majority of the meetings of you have Jeep executives, high up Jeep engineers that really truly care about the brand. They know the brand, they live the brand, they breathe the brand, but you get into the same style of meeting every time. How much are you going to push? We've been in those meetings before, Ryan. I mean, we've sat in meetings that, hey, there's no value to that. And it's like, whoa, like, and it just writes you off just instantly. So you're going to say it a few times, and then every meeting you go to, you're going to be like, how much am I going to put my neck out there and potentially lose my job because this person does not, they just don't want it. And at the end of the day, it's their call. So it seems to me like there was almost someone in charge that didn't understand the market, and now we're kind of getting, unfortunately, the recourse of all of it. I feel like the damage has really been done. Yeah. I mean, I know it's like, we're still producing Wranglers. We've got a 25 sitting here, but there was just so much cost cutting that was happening. The biggest thing for me, like, I know it's not a huge issue for everyone, but in the 24, when they made all the clusters orange, it just bugs me. They use the same cluster from everything from a base sport to a 392. $70,000 in price difference, and you still got the orange cluster that didn't match anything in the interior. That's cost cutting. That's the Darwin program right there. Make the same speedometer cluster, make the same this, make the same that, and just see how cheap we can produce these. No, and I kind of think that Carlos was maybe the one that was just pushing those cost cuttings. They said that his initiative, that Darwin, in there, John Elkman, that's now like temporarily in charge, he said Darwin must die so the Jeep can survive, so that brand can survive. That's in Haggerty, yeah. So he's like instantly cutting that, which... that's great news. I mean, you don't know what's going to come out since that. Maybe some new colors, some new trims. The problem that I have is that for so many years that model or that mindset was in charge, we've seen a lot more issues to the brand that now it's basically a cleanup crew. Like the PR, like Ryan said off camera, the PR that's going to be needed to be done for Jeep to like correct the brand is going to be monstrous.
Yeah, I think 2025, they're really going to have to invest in so much to go back to, maybe start the Camp Jeep again, because that was the big
They just
talk.
did. Yeah, actually, I didn't even say that. They just said for 2025 it's returning.
Really?
Already.
Yeah. So that was like one of the big things last year, was like they were pulling out of all these things to push the brand.
Cost cutting.
Cost cutting, right. So now they have to make up for it, and they got to put the money back into the marketing and back into...
So at the end of the day, it doesn't save anything, because you probably cost cut $20 million last year, and now to make up for that $20 million cost cutting, you're spending $40 million. So you should have just kept it. And I'm not running the company, but I think a lot of the moves that were made, the cost cutting affected the quality of the Wrangler. I think that was a big thing. I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons that the hinges were never coated underneath. They weren't adjusted properly. I think what he did, and this is all conjecture, mind you, this is all conjecture, was just keep the cost low. We got to keep producing them. I'm not even going to be here by the time these cause issues. I hate to say that, but like, hey, I quit. All these Jeep owners are left holding the bag. They have their Jeeps that are now corroding on all the hinges, all this other stuff. Not my problem. He was collecting an 8-figure salary plus stock options, and now
and
what?
Essentially won't take the fault for all of his. It's like an ego thing. It's like, I didn't do anything wrong, but I'm going to collect and just.
And I think that mindset, and honestly, I think that might be a cultural shift too for us, for like CEOs, that it's just not. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think having an 8-figure person in charge to control everything is really.
Well, I mean, if he's controlling not only Jeep but all the other brands
Chrysler,
too. I mean,
Dodge.
I remember within the first year of, I guess, Stellantis takeover, when he was in charge, like they did the last call for the Hellcat. You know, they
like the
last
3 or
call.
4 last calls though. Yeah. Remember that? Yeah. So I think, was that the other marketing ploy? Like, let's just lie to the audience, like the 392 final edition. Hey, do it. Get the cash grab, and then we'll release another final edition. Because last calls, they had like 3 times of that. They had 3 last calls to just get people to keep.
But is this a silver lining for the 392? Do you think this is going to be a shift in bringing that engine back? Because, like you said, there might be a rumor that it was like he was a big reason of taking.
I thought it was all EPA. I thought it was all fines, all that fun stuff, and that was the reason they were putting more electrification.
And maybe there was a little bit of that,
I'm sure
taxes wise,
yeah.
But the
like you
entire.
The brand has to average out to like an average MPG. So like a whole Jeep brand, if you have something getting 49 MPGE, like the hybrids or whatever, and then you have a Jeep getting 12, like the 392, if it all averages out to what the EPA wants you to have, you're good. Yeah. So like in our opinion, they're coming out with a Jeep Recon. That's been spy shots. We actually just saw some. I saw some yesterday on the forums. Will that be enough to like counteract a really low MPG? So maybe you could throw an even bigger Hemi into the Jeep or something else. Yeah. But I think that might be the silver lining to it. I would personally hope, and I know, Ryan, you're going to be the same way, that they really get back to their roots. They need to do something to just completely change the brand outlook, because going around to a local lot here and seeing the same 4x4s that I've seen for going on 2 years now, that's sad. It's sad to look at. What are you going to do with these things? And,
I don't know if it's going to, all the plans that we've seen come out from the contracts and all, from the strike and everything last year too, as far as like the 2025 4xe Gladiator, like is that going to be delayed now, or are they going to like rethink those ideas like from that now that he's gone? Is another question I have. Is this going to change the whole landscape now, what they're doing for the next 3 years, or are they already kind of producing some stuff for the 28? I want to believe that whatever happened this last year is really going to like change a few of their ideas and change a few of their kind of mindsets towards how they can improve selling these vehicles. They have to. The brand needs it. Like the audience wants to get back into the brand too, and it's hard to when it's completely at its lowest point. Like we've seen it at its lowest point at this point, but I think it's like a silver lining that they're starting to do some different stuff with it, and they're starting to make new changes, getting back into the Camp Jeep, starting to get back into shows, getting back into what the Jeep audience remembers it as,
They could pivot. They could do a 180 right now. And I think if you're going to do it, now's the time to do it. You know what I mean? You're ready to go. It's the beginning of a new year, 2025. Hit it fresh and let's start it. But I think that's one thing we talked about off camera too, is that the decisions made by one person just trickle down so badly. So we not only saw the impact as owners and consumers, but the workforce, the layoffs in Toledo, the executives leaving, the management, the dealerships that are privately owned, they really got hit hard by these, not like the standards that they set. You can only sell 4xs, you can only do this, you can only sell this option. It was really, it was bad. Just watch our Is Jeep Dead plan and go to the end where we like lay out that plan of how we would do it, like address the corrosion, address all that. I think you could fix the brand if you would invest back into it. I think also Jeep needs to start realizing the value of influencers such as us and other people that are die-hard into the brand. I saw the article the other day of a TikToker posting a video about Chili's French fries, and the company saw a 40% increase in Q3 sales. It was like Chili's or something. That was from a 10-second video. You don't need to invest millions of dollars into a 4xe, into some ads of insert random people turning left in the dunes and go, like, That's not. We don't need we don't need the PR firm that doesn't know anything about Jeep. We need Jeep people back to running Jeep. Well, guys, just as we release a video like that, of course something else comes out. So Mojito is now available to be ordered. You can order it for the 2025. Really excited. Megan from Dan Cummins just texted me and she said, Matt, look, Mojito is available. So we wanted to get this to you guys. It was honestly like an hour after we got done filming. I'm actually at home so you can see the Jeep, and it just started raining outside. But yeah, Mojito is available to order, as well as the 4-door. You can now get the 3.6 auto. So definitely reach out to them. We don't know how long it's going to be open or why it just opened right now. However, it's available to order, so definitely do so if you've been waiting for it.
I want to know, like, if you've written off Jeep completely after this last couple of years, and just in general, the way the direction of Jeep is going, like, what will you need to see for you to kind of get yourself back into that? Is it lower prices? Is it more for your price? You know, we talked about that before for mods and stuff. Do you need to get more things to justify the price of this vehicle? Does it need to come down? Does, you know, what is it for you that needs to change?
I don't know. You know, of course, the easy thing is, like, it needs to be cheaper. It needs to have Dana 60s. It needs to have all that stuff. Yeah, you know, of course, we'd want a $20,000 Wrangler that has a V8 and axles and all that. But some of it's not realistic. But in reality, I think we've talked about that, having that entry level, like, rock crawling 2-door, rock crawling 4-door that was stripped down, and then having your high end Jeeps. I think there's a buyer for every style of Wrangler, but I think you need to offer a good amount of Wranglers. Yeah, a lot of stuff coming, but yeah, drop it down below if you were like on the fence or you've been just really ticked off about it, what needs to change, you know, and are you happy about this? I think a lot of people are. I know I am. I think we're already seeing within a week or 2 weeks, like, changes. So I think they just need to make those real big ones that, like, upset the industry. You have the opportunity right now. You're at a prime spot.
But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. I hope this really does open up the eyes of everybody that's running Jeep right now, and it has. I think they're saying that they're listening and they want to, you know, fix the brand, and you just got to hope for it this next year. And we're going to bring you the news. Yeah, as soon as it comes out, you will hear it here from us first. I know a lot of people were like, "When's Mojito coming out? When's Juice coming out?" As soon as we know, it's going to be a video. Yeah, like, and I think that's the other thing. It's like people ask, like, well, can you tell me what this is on the back end, and, you know, when can I order this? Like, we only know what we've been told or see, or, you know,
and only can reveal
and
so
only
much
can reveal
too,
so
because,
much. Like, we do know some stuff, but like
we have stuff. I mean, we got we got to steal the Declaration in. It's like national treasure. Like, we know the secrets.
Yeah.
But we can't necessarily reveal all of it because, well, we just can't. We hear from other sources, but what we can hear and what we do hear from the public, yeah, we'll get to you guys right away. So, but anyways, yeah, this has been a fun one. Hopefully this is all good news for Jeep, and we just can't wait to see what the future holds. But anyways, my name's Matt. I'm in front of the camera. Ryan's behind it. We want you to get out there and earn yours.